Imagine going from knocking on agents' doors around Hollywood at 17 years old to orchestrating high-profile deals across the world's biggest combat sports stages. Today I'm joined by Carlo Alcala, a talent manager at the agency 3.0 Labs, who's known for having collaborated on some massive innovative partnerships that have reshaped the sports, fashion, and entertainment landscapes. I love this project as we talk about Carlo's collaboration working with Francis Ngannou and Jacob & Co. So you definitely won't want to miss this one to learn more about a young up-and-coming talent as he continues to help take over the entertainment world. Hope you're enjoying this content. If you are, subscribe, give me a like, also drop a comment and share this with as many people as you think will be interested. I always really appreciate the support and all the feedback that people are getting me. Now, let's get it. Welcome back to Fight Capital, where we enter the ring of combat sports business. I'm your host, Ryan Rappaport. Today, I'm lucky to be joined by Carlo Alcala, who is a seasoned talent manager at 3.0 Labs, known for his bringing high-value partnerships in sports and entertainment. He has played a pivotal role in some iconic team-ups with brands and celebrities to create some groundbreaking marketing, and he has a background in both music and sports, so he has a unique blend to bring creativity and business strategy, making him an exciting rising figure in sports marketing. Thanks for joining me today, Carlo. How are you and where are you joining from?
I'm good, man, and thank you for having me, man. It's always great to hop on things like this. This is kind of new for me, especially more on the business side of it, but it's really good, man. I'm excited to be here, and I'm right outside of Los Angeles, so closer to Calabasas if you're familiar with it, right outside the craziness of LA.
Oh yeah. It's still crazy enough if you're driving out there, man. So I know exactly. I know all about it. So man, I'm curious just to learn a little bit more about you. Where did the talent management aspect in your life come to fruition, and how did that end up you joining teams as 3.0 Labs?
Yeah, I will say it kind of was like a really natural evolution. I got into the industry fairly young, like at 17 years old, knocking on agent doors, just trying to find a way to get in there. I wrestled and played football in high school, and that gave me an opportunity to go to school in the Valley. But within that, like, sort of evolution, there was a lot of kids that were dating celebrities, or like the Jenner sisters would come to our football games. So there was a feeling of maybe insecurity within myself, or a form of not feeling in, right? So that was kind of like the first step of getting into the industry. And one thing led to the next, and I was on film sets, on front of the camera, behind the camera, doing multiple things. I would get booked for something and say, hey, to the director or whoever is in charge, can I come and be a PA and carry water bottles? Or can I just do anything to learn and grow more and to be in the environment? Kind of the same evolution in music studios as well, where I was just like waiting outside of studios for 6 hours just to meet a producer to say, can I wrap your cables for free on the weekends? And maybe it's not like the most, I would say, traditional way of like entering into the side of management in these days. If I would have had maybe American parents, or I'm a first generation Latino immigrant, or Latino, my parents immigrated here. So for them, it was like, oh, my kid's getting entertainment, and they didn't know necessarily how to maybe give me that mentorship, right? Because it's no one really knows when you're entering into this space. So if I would have known, I would have been like, all right, fine, go to USC School of Sports Management, or of entertainment business, or whatever it might be, right? Instead of the gruesome evolution I
School of Hard
had.
Knocks.
Yeah, literally. But it really ended up being a really hands-on, eclectic experience where it put me in multiple rooms. It made me be able to build out a tremendous network. But the core principle, I would say, that was always integrated within that whole evolution was I was always in combat sports. My first time on the mat was when I was 15. First time in contact sports was when I was 12. So within my 20s, that's kind of what I was doing. I would go whatever as a PA on set, whatever it might be. When I was working at William Morris, I'd wake up at 5 a.m. just so I can be on the mats in the morning, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to train after working at the agency, because those are long hours and it's a hustle inside there. So one thing led to the next, and it just it was a natural progression to really getting into talent management, I would say. When you're younger, you see, Simon Cowell, Jimmy Iovine, and maybe you see Oscar De La Hoya, and you see them that they're talent, or there's something, they're more in the limelight, right? But you don't really know their evolution, and you think you have to be a talent before getting there if no one educates you on this way of getting into the entertainment. So it started off School of Hard Knocks, man, and then eventually just organically evolving into in sports and combat, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool path, man, and it's I always appreciate the ones who are out there hustling, working their way into it. Not everyone is just having the door held open for them, right? You got to go in there and kick in the back door sometimes. So
Hmm.
I do appreciate that, and man, and what I noticed just kind of looking at a little bit of your work, you've been a part of some pretty impactful, cool collaborations across sports and music. I'm curious, is there anything that you've worked on that you've considered like particularly impactful and maybe like why and how it came about?
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah, I really started to do, I would say, higher level things when I came on to 3.0. At William Morris, it's great, right? But I think there's a lot of inbounding and a lack of creativity in that ecosphere, as far just in general, a lot of the major agencies where it's a lot of inbound. You know, you have such high profile clients where ingenuity and creativity is not really flourished, and you're just kind of saying, all right, this is the person's rate, and that's what it is. And if you don't want to work with them, then that's it. But at 3.0, we're small, and you know we all come from the agency world, or majority of us on the staff, where I had to be creative. I had to think of ways to work with brands. I had to think of ways to think out of the box, because that's how we were going to be able to evolve as a team. The one I'm really feel pride, like a lot of pride around, was with Jacob and Co. in Francis this last year,
Mm-hmm.
because for myself it was like a confirmation, like, wow, I am where I want to be in my career. I didn't have the major infrastructure, the major support of a major agency supporting me through this partnership, but I was able to do it with my laptop and my phone, and really just my experience that I acquired over all these years. But that was definitely a really impactful collaboration I was able to put into play, and it was difficult. I had to convey. I don't think no one really knew how big of a fight Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou's fight was going to be, and no one really knew what the Saudis were up to. 3.0 knew, and people that were involved, like, we knew exactly how big of a promotion it was going to be. We knew how big of a slap in the face to the combat sports world it was going to be. But
Mm-hmm.
it was hard to convey that to brands, right? Because no one really knew, and we weren't really allowed to say too much, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we knew Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be involved in the promotion. We knew he was going to be there. But to kind of have brands hop on board with that, and to not be able to say too much but have to sell something as well at the same time, is very difficult.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
position I was in. But that definitely, man, was the one that I was just like, wow, I did it. It was hard, but it ended up being, throughout the whole fight week, that was a conversation, that was a topic of conversation
Mm.
throughout fight week. Oh, Cristiano gave Francis his watch, or the CR7 watch from Jacob and Co. And so that was really cool for me, for sure, for sure, for sure.
That's pretty cool, man. I mean, just talk to me a little bit. I mean, when you look at that specific case in hand, I mean, obviously everything you guys do with Francis and how Francis's stock and has just been like a rocket ship. Even after all the tragedy that he has dealt with through that, where he's coming from the other side of this, man,
Mhm.
his star is still so bright. But then having people like Cristiano in there, I know that there were some other big brands too, like some custom design stuff. When you think about some of the biggest challenges that you run into and like how you overcome those, doing what you're doing on the day to day, managing those relationships, I don't think a lot of people understand. Can you shed some light on some of the things that you've like dealt with, maybe some of the things that people who are looking from the outside in aren't seeing happening on surface level?
Yeah, for sure. I think first of all, I want to say thanks to my boss, Martin, because he gave me the trust to come on board to 3.0 when I came from William Morris, that owned the UFC, and that takes a tremendous amount of trust, and also just he's built so much for Francis, and I've just come on the tail end of this, right? So I just first of all want to put that there, that he gave me the opportunity to be reaching out, and to be a face of, to trust me with that, to give me that support and trust to be able to reach out and be on this side of representation. So first of all, I just want to say thanks to him. But I will say it's a lot of how can I help you, not necessarily what can I sell you, right? What's the demographic you want to tap into? where do you guys want to see yourself in? Are you guys interested in combat sports? Really seeing how I can help the brands rather than just try to sell them a client, right? And now
Mm.
that roster is somewhat growing and we're evolving at 3.0, those relationships are just still relationships that I keep in place. And I'll just be like, all right, well, Liquid IV is not interested in combat, but you're interested in NIL or whatever it might be, right? But now I know how to kind of bring value to those brands. It's not selling
Mm.
them, it's bringing value to them. What's your targeted demographic? What are you looking to get into? Let me see how I can help you. It's more of that than rather just selling to the brand.
Hey everyone, quick favor to ask. Did you know that nearly 80% of the people tuning in right now aren't subscribed yet? That subscribe button down below is what powers me every week to keep putting out these podcasts. Big shout out and thank you to everyone that's been supporting me for this. I couldn't do it without you. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe below. It means the world to me. And for everyone supporting me, thank you so much. Now back to the show. Yeah, and there's a level of authenticity in that too, right? Particularly when you're like aligning the brand with that person, right? And
Mhm.
like their shared ideals and the kind of authenticity of that relationship and working with them. And one of the things I'd seen pretty noticeably in some of your work too is that you definitely seem to have an eye for like that fashion and creative design aspect, and some of those like pretty cool partnerships have been happening there. Can you just talk about where maybe you see that role of that side of it, particularly with like some of these things that you guys have been doing with Riyadh season, not in the very recent past, in terms of like how that fashion and design is integrating into combat sports and maybe even sports as a whole.
Yeah, I think as things are evolving, we're starting to see a lot of tier A brands, right? When I say tier A, like the Chanel's or the Louis Vuittons, trying to find themselves within the world of sport in general. And I think it's also it goes back to the form to the world of like music and just general entertainment. Like when I evolved as I've been in combat sports for the most of my life as far as like a practitioner and as a martial artist myself, just because I love it. I never viewed myself doing it professionally, but I love it. But it really is all interconnected. Like if someone is trying to go from one aspect of entertainment to the other, there's nuances maybe in the contracts and numbers that are different, right? But really the same brand growth and overall growth of an individual in entertainment kind of follows the same flow in things, I would say, which means hey, let's align them with the brand. Let's see what brands will come into place. Let's fashion is a big part of it, how they look. A lot of times management is manipulation and a product promoting another self-sustaining product. If you understand those two principles, it's going to take you a long way, right? And it's really bringing that high class brand to promote this artist, right? But it's also a mutually beneficial thing where if you're aligned with a high class brand, your social currency also evolves and elevates at the same time because people say, oh, wow, he's not just dealing with your traditional, sports brands. He's doing a collaboration with Louis Vuitton. So then now it's like his that social value keeps to increasing, right? And all of a sudden you're known as the guy who works with high class brands, not just sports brands, the traditional sports
Mm.
brands, right?
Mm.
So it's one of those things where it's an even flow and trying to understand your client, understand what they're interested in, seeing how much is actually fashion, how much does fashion matter to them as well. If I go to Sean Strickland, I don't really think Sean will care. I think he likes jeans and a white t-shirt, right? That's his
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But all
yeah,
right,
yeah.
like let's get him a partnership with Fruit of Loom, like I don't know why they
Mm-hmm.
haven't done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or let's
yeah,
get him
yeah,
something
yeah.
with Levi's, right? Or some boot company. It's pretty, easy to kind of do that. And he also caters to that blue collar populace, right? So it's
Mm.
kind of viewing that where that also is fashionable, man. Like you put him in a beat up Harley with a white t-shirt and some jeans and some boots. That is catering to an audience and that is
Mm.
fashionable in its way, right? It's I think it's ever evolving. It's not a one word thing that I can say like, oh, this is how it's gonna be
Mm.
in the industry, but definitely it's a big part of monetizing for combat sport athletes and for athletes in general. And I think the more they're able to align with fashion and make it a statement within their own brand, the more they're able to also monetize off of that as well. If that makes sense. That was a long-winded thing, but
No, no,
yeah,
man, I agree 100%, and you'll have to excuse me too, because I might make you expand on that.
yeah.
I mean, because you're boots on the ground, you're making sure these things are happening a lot of those times. Are there any trends that you're kind of seeing in that relationship, whether it's within fashion or other kind of trends inside that relationship between combat sports, the marketing, and that partnerships as it's evolving, and maybe things that'll be happening more in the next couple of years?
hmm the trends that I like I mentioned, I think it's more of the high class brands um, finding partners. Yeah, the higher the tier A brands coming in to work with your traditional athlete.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more and more of that where there's not really going to be a separation of. It's even I've seen like some of the ball players in football like wearing chains. Like that can be
Mm.
a high class jewelry while they're playing football, earrings and chains. Like so. I don't. I think it's going to more and more evolve into having high fashion
Mm.
interconnected within sports. And it's just going to open a bigger market share, I think. So just, yeah, world of high fashion coming into sports. I think that's a newer trend that's kind of flowing in within these next few years. And it's already
Yeah,
here,
well,
kind of, to be honest. Yeah.
and I think there's other people who are exploiting that opportunity, kind of like what Jackson Chains is doing. I think they've done a really good job of
hmm
cutting in there at that content side as well.
hmm
And they're granted they're not APG. They're not all these different like luxury brands, but they're filling a gap of someone who's tying very deeply and closely to it. So I love that. I mean, without giving away too much, man, what's next for you, 3.0 Labs? Are there any of your new signings that we should have an eye out for, or any cool relationships that have shot up recently?
Yeah, I mean everything's ever evolving for us, I will say. We're kind of have different specialties in different areas, and me being more of the junior guy in the team, it's like everything kind of trickles down to me. So for me, like, oh wow, one day I'm doing NIL stuff, one day I'm even filming TV stuff, and I was reading a script the other day, and then I'm pretty integrated within the regional Mexican scene, which is a huge market that people should be more and more interested in because it's very monetizable. So really for me, man, it's one of those things where I as a person absolutely love combat sports
Mm.
and I would want to continue being in the management side. But unfortunately, I think with a lot of the major promotions, it's very difficult to monetize in comparison to a guy in the NFL or a guy in the NBA where you're talking a 60-60 deal where you're spending X amount of time negotiating that, where I can be negotiating something that's in the millions range.
Mm.
So it's unfortunate for me because I don't think what I would say the cream rises to the top in combat sports because a lot of the major agents don't want to get involved, I would say, necessarily in that space. And there's no barrier of entry for combat sports management as well in comparison to where you have to have a certain license to negotiate NFL deals
Mm.
or NBA deals. So for me, it's one of those things where I'm always going to try to have one foot in combat sports, I think, for the rest of my life, just because I genuinely love it. But I have to be very creative in the way how to be in that environment. That's going to be non-traditional. But I think that's
Mm.
what we're all about at 3.02. High value representation, non-traditional paths, and really representing our clients to our best abilities. But yeah, man, I mean, you're going to be able to see a lot of things within the whole ether of entertainment within 3.0, music, fashion, tech, entertainment, and I think our our foundation is in combat sports, and I think just with Markel's notoriety and his expertise, it's just we're gonna always somewhat be in there, even though maybe he doesn't want to touch it or so. But I think it's just organically gonna be in there as we evolve and grow as a company as well.
Oh, and there's so many great personality and brands that come from combat sports.
hmm
It's not the type of thing that you can just be like, oh no, we're done with that. I think that's probably in the
Yeah.
DNA of the company too, which is
hmm
pretty cool to see. Well,
hmm
hey, it's really cool connecting with you too, Carlo. Just because
hmm
having like watched a little bit of your social, I can tell that you are like an actual martial artist. On top
hmm
of everything that you do for your training, and now that you get to be more integrated across the whole entire platform, it's pretty cool to see. So man, I'm really looking forward to following your work, watching your growth through 3.0, watching, obviously I'm a fan of 3.0 and everything Markel and the team is doing. So really excited to see what you guys do next, man. And before we get going, is there any way that people should best be able to follow you or reach out to you if they want to learn more and connect with you?
Yeah, you can just on my Instagram, Carlo Sebastian Alcala. It's just my full name. Reach out to me. I mean, if you're, I think one of the best things I learned, leaving WME, I sent out tons of emails to different people, and I said to myself, there's like maybe a B level, A level, and like C level, right? And I was so surprised to see that the people I thought were going to get back to me never did, but the people that were at the highest level in the industry did get back to me. So I think for me, it's just one of those things where I'm always open to chat with people, always open to give advice, always open just to give 5 minutes out of my day or whatever it might be to help anybody out if I can. So feel free to reach out. I'm not one of those guys that's just going to be like, oh, I don't have time, because everybody has time, man. It's just it's just a matter of allocating it, right?
Amen.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
man, I agree.
you can reach me there. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for doing this. Really looking forward to seeing what you and the team do next, man, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds good, man. Thank you for your time.